What's the real reason Disney's Snow White remake is falling apart? With $300 million already down the drain and a growing feud between Gal Gadot and Rachel Zegler, things are getting heated behind the scenes. Zegler is furious as Gadot steals the spotlight, but Disney's in panic mode. Will the drama sink the film? Is Snow White 2025 going to be remembered as a woke disaster, or is there hope for a comeback? Stick around to find out what's really going on behind the chaos. Disney's latest remake of Snow White has quickly turned into a disaster, and honestly, it's not hard to see why. They've already poured a staggering $300 million into this project, but instead of staying true to the beloved 1937 classic, they've strayed so far that it's almost unrecognizable. Now, Disney is in full panic mode, scrambling to fix this mess before it spirals even further out of control. At the heart of this debacle are two of the film's lead stars, Gal Gadot, who plays the evil queen, and Rachel Zegler, the new Snow White. The tension between them is palpable, and it's not helping the movie's chances. Gadot, with her commanding presence, is quickly stealing the spotlight, leaving Zegler struggling to make her mark. Meanwhile, Disney is desperately trying to save face, but it's becoming clear that this remake might just be the final nail in the coffin for Disney's current direction, especially with their focus on a woke agenda. Now, let's dive into the movie itself. Disney's attempt to reimagine Snow White is more of a head-scratcher than anything else. They've tossed aside everything that made the 1937 original so magical, the iconic story, the dwarfs, the evil queen, and replaced it with changes that have raised more than a few eyebrows. For example, the iconic backstory of Snow White, where her name reflects her fair skin as white as snow, has been completely scrapped. Instead, we get a Snow White named after surviving a snowstorm. Seriously, a snowstorm. That's their big twist for this remake. It's hard to see how this change adds any depth to the character or the story. Disney's attempt to modernize the classic fairy tale with progressive changes has clearly missed the mark. What made the original Snow White so enchanting was its fairy tale magic, something that feels completely lost in this version. The dwarfs, the evil queen, the princess with a legendary backstory, those elements captured hearts across generations. But now, with weather-related twists and a narrative that feels more like a lecture than a fairy tale, it's hard to see how this new version will resonate with the audience that cherished the original. The worst part? By alienating the very fans who grew up with the original Snow White, Disney risks losing a generation of people who wanted to pass this timeless story down to their kids. Instead, what they're left with is a remake that feels like it's pandering to a modern agenda, forgetting the magic that made Snow White an enduring classic in the first place. So how can Disney possibly win over fans when they've rewritten the whole story into a strange, woke fable? The truth is, Disney seems to be trying too hard to be inclusive and innovative, but in doing so, they're losing sight of what made these classic tales so universally beloved. It's almost as if they're bending over backward to please a new audience, forgetting the loyal fans who've supported Disney for decades, and trust me, these fans are not thrilled with the direction things are going. Take Rachel Zegler, for example, Disney's pick for Snow White. From the very beginning, her casting was controversial, but it's her outspoken comments that have really turned up the heat. Zegler hasn't held back in sharing her opinions, which, let's just say, are rooted in a woke agenda. She's made it clear that in this version, Snow White won't be rescued by a prince, nor will she sit around dreaming about true love. It's almost as if Zegler is determined to strip away every ounce of the original magic and replace it with whatever fits the current trend in Hollywood. When she mentioned giving the story a modern edge, it's clear what she meant: turning the classic fairy tale on its head. Her influence on the film has been significant, and it's not exactly a positive shift. Sources say she's been pushing for changes that steer the movie further away from its fairy tale roots. This includes disregarding elements that made Snow White such a beloved character and story in the first place. But it's not just about the movie's direction. Zegler's views have reportedly caused some major tension behind the scenes. Rumor has it that her personal beliefs have ruffled more than a few feathers, creating a divide among the cast and crew. It's almost as if she's trying to turn Snow White into a vehicle for her personal agenda, and let's be honest, that's not sitting well with a lot of people, including longtime fans. They've made their concerns clear, but Disney seems to be ignoring them in favor of pushing an agenda that doesn't resonate with the audience that made the original Snow White the classic it is today. What fans really wanted was the whimsical, innocent Snow White they grew up with, not a grittier, more cynical version of a character who, quite frankly, never needed to be fixed. Zegler's vision for Snow White, coupled with Disney's direction, seems completely at odds with what the audience is craving. Instead of a faithful homage to the classic, they're getting a politically charged remake that has left many feeling betrayed by the very company they once trusted to bring their favorite childhood stories to life. Now, let's turn to the one bright spot in this mess, Gal Gadot. She's stepping into the role of the evil queen, and if there's one thing Disney has done right with this film, it's casting her in this role. Gadot has a magnetic charisma that's impossible to overlook. In a movie that's quickly spiraling out of control, she's emerging as the only stable element holding the entire production together. Despite Disney initially pushing Rachel Zegler's casting as the central focus of the film, it's clear that audiences are far more excited about Gadot's involvement. And who can blame them? Over the years, Gadot has built a fan base with her undeniable presence and charm, which makes her the perfect fit for the role of the evil queen. As the movie's marketing strategy shifts, Gadot is being showcased more prominently, and it's no surprise Disney knows they've got a gem with her, and she might just be their best shot at salvaging the project after all the chaos. In fact, Gadot has practically become the film's unofficial spokesperson, with her scenes taking center stage in promotional materials. This shift is telling she's one of the few elements of the film that fans are genuinely excited about. It's becoming clear that Gadot's presence is overshadowing Ziggler's role, and Disney seems to have recognized where the real appeal lies. By shifting the spotlight onto her, they're betting that she could be the movie's saving grace. Gadot might just be the one thing that tips the scales in favor of this remake when it eventually hits theaters, but as tensions rise between Ziggler and Gadot, with reports of heated arguments on set, it's anyone's guess how much her involvement can actually salvage this sinking ship. Zegler's frustration with the film's direction has reached a boiling point, and she's not afraid to air her grievances. Reports have surfaced that she's been throwing serious shade at Gal Gadot, accusing her of trying to sabotage her role and steal the spotlight. If that wasn't messy enough, it's alleged that Zegler even demanded that some of Gadot's scenes be cut from the movie. Imagine that, trying to cut scenes from the main villain, who also happens to be one of Hollywood's biggest stars. It's no wonder Disney executives are left scratching their heads, wondering how to manage this growing drama. This back and forth has only made matters worse, escalating tensions and further complicating the film's already troubled production. With reshoots and conflicts piling up, the project has turned into a full-on circus. Not only is the film struggling to find its footing, but now you've got two of its leading ladies at odds with each other. This tension has thrown Disney's marketing strategy into disarray. What was supposed to be a smooth promotional rollout has now become a balancing act as the studio scrambles to keep things from unraveling further. In response, Disney has reportedly shifted its focus to Gadot, perhaps hoping her star power can overpower the drama and salvage the film's image. But at this point, it's uncertain whether even that will be enough to pull the remake from the depths of chaos. With the growing conflict and mounting pressure on all sides, Disney might have dug itself into a corner. If they can't resolve this situation quickly, Snow White 2025 could very well go down as a disaster, remembered for all the wrong reasons both behind the scenes and on the big screen. Disney has already invested a staggering $300 million into this Snow White remake, and with the added cost of reshoots, that figure continues to climb. The studio is now pouring an additional $25 million into the project, all in an attempt to salvage what seems to be unraveling by the day. But the big question is, will these reshoots actually fix anything, or are they just another case of throwing more money at a sinking ship? For a company that has long been known for breaking box office records, these missteps are starting to show cracks in the foundation. Production delays and constant behind-the-scenes drama only add to the stress. Disney can't afford to keep missing deadlines and pushing release dates back, especially with shareholders demanding results. Each delay not only increases the mounting cost, but also erodes the anticipation from the audience. The more the public hears about the chaos on set, the less likely they are to stay excited about the final product. And with Disney already having dealt with several high-profile flops in recent years, their financial stability is starting to feel less secure than it used to be. With the massive amount of money already spent, Disney needs a lot more than a PR fix to keep this film from failing. The issues with Snow White 2025 represent a larger problem in Hollywood, a disconnect between the industry and the audience. Disney's push for woke remakes has alienated fans who were hoping for the timeless magic of the original, not a politically charged reimagining of the story. The public's positive response to Gal Gadot's portrayal of the evil queen is in stark contrast to the backlash surrounding Rachel Zegler's version of Snow White. Disney's shift in focus towards Gadot in their marketing efforts speaks volumes about where they see the future of this film. If they don't rethink their approach, especially the political undertones, they risk losing their loyal fans who want stories that honor the original while staying true to their roots. The big question is, will Disney finally choose storytelling over politics, or will this remake be remembered as another failed attempt to pander to the masses? Only time will tell. But one thing's for sure, Snow White 2025 is one train wreck that fans are waiting to see crash and burn. What do you think? Will Disney recover from this chaos, or has the damage already been done? Let us know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this breakdown and want more deep dives into Hollywood's biggest controversies, be sure to subscribe to Movie Saga and hit that notification bell so you never miss a video. Don't forget to share your opinions.